Hi, my name is Keith Cooper, Northlight Images, and in this very short video I'm going to answer a question that I get asked indirectly quite often, and that is, why is this paper no good on my printer? It came about, the idea, this was somebody asked me, they said they were printing some pictures on a Canon Pro 300, which is a pigment ink based printer. I've done reviews and articles about it, it's great. And they said that after several days, the paper, the print, wasn't quite dry. Now this meant that they were trying to get dust off it, and in the process of getting dust off it they were smudging the print. Well, I'm going to say that if assuming you're using Canon inks, which I would normally, and they were, if you've got a print that's not drying properly after 3 days, there is but one reason for this, and that is you are using the wrong paper. I've got examples of people printing on greetings cards and other things like that, doing cards and that, and getting poor results because they're using just ordinary plain uncoated cardstock, or they're using basic cardstock and hoping that it's going to come out. The colours come out awful. Simple. Get a paper for cards that's intended for inkjet use. But for these pictures, the guy said the pictures looked great. Yeah, they may look great, but if after a couple of days I can still smudge the ink, they are wrong. It is a simple thing. Sometimes a paper that may be fine in another printer, you try it in your printer and it simply doesn't work. Give it up, move along. Now, why would this happen? Because it was a well-known paper, a moderately well-known paper from a third-party supplier, so I have an idea what the original paper might be on it. Why might this happen? Well, you always, to my mind, you select your papers after you get a new printer. Just because you've got boxes and boxes of a particular paper and you buy a new printer and that paper doesn't seem quite right. Now, the tendency is to keep plugging away, thinking it must be something about the settings, it must be something about the environment, I'm not drying the prints properly. No, sometimes I'm afraid it's as simple as it is the wrong paper. So bear that in mind. If you find you're getting dreadful results from a printer, consider it may be the paper or whatever media you're printing on. I get asked this a lot by people, and I suspect that quite often they don't like the answer, which is try a different paper. You get a new printer, evaluate your papers then. You may be lucky, your paper may well work quite well. If I have boxes and boxes of Epson Luster paper and I get a Canon printer, well, I know enough about papers to know that as long as I profile it, the Epson Luster paper is going to work perfectly well on the Canon printer, and vice versa. There's usually very little difference. But when it comes to third-party papers, of which many are excellent, and remember, neither Canon nor Epson make their own papers, when it comes to third-party papers, sometimes they just don't work well. Accept that, take a hit on it, move on. It's one of the reasons I say when you get a new printer, test and test again. Just a few papers, use test images, then some of your own images, but test a new printer, because it's no good coming along at some later point and think, well, actually these prints don't look very good, because you never properly tested things. Anyway, that's it. If you've got questions, please do ask. I appreciate it. Please do subscribe to the channel, and I hope these little short videos are useful and helpful. So thanks again.